He said we're in line
Right,
with
like,
other cities.
yeah,
but those
right,
are-
and that's the part that shows.
They literally came to me 2 minutes before.
She's very
That's what I'm saying. I don't really agree with dollars voting down.
It's like when the ship is taken out of water.
right,
all the
yeah.
rest of it goes.
What are you?
Well, hey, you know, gosh, the more I see that, the more I like
It's Minsk on the
Yeah.
to see his name.
Yeah, so if he doesn't,
Might.
there's a complete play-by-play.
I don't know if I
You like that?
two or.
That's interesting.
Right.
That's interesting. Where'd you find that at? That is
Literally.
online.
One's name, it's a guy. Yeah, let me look right here.
We got a bunch of things in the back. Further back. I like that. Yeah, I do too. Robbie? It gives, all right, we're all into that.
Okay, we're ready to start. Bobby texted me, and he's not going to be able to make it right now, so I'm Vice President. I'll just run the meeting. So I'm going to call the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District Board meeting to order for July the 2nd, 2019 at 4:05. So we are now in order. Let me call the roll. Director Nakamura.
Here.
I don't have a pen. I need more pen. I'm unprepared.
You weren't planning on being president at this
No,
point.
I wasn't. President Lindemood is not here right now. Director Wheat.
Here.
Vice President Newton is here. Director Dodson.
Here.
Director Kelly.
Here.
Director Rigney.
Here.
Very good. Thank y'all for coming. So the first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. So we have reading and public hearing of Resolution R-18-0077.
This says 0800.
Yeah, it
080.
is 800. That's
80.
Well, 0080.
Resolution R-19-0080, a resolution approving Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District Board of Directors action under consent items at the meeting of July the 2nd, 2019, whereas Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District Board of Directors has taken action on certain items on the agenda under consent items. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District, Section 1, that the agenda decisions approved by the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District Board of Directors action under consent items as follows are hereby adopted. A, approval of the minutes of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District work session of June 18, 2019. B, approval of the minutes of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District Board of Directors meeting of July the 2nd, 2018, and it is so resolved. So I need to have a public hearing on this item. I will open the public hearing. Public hearing is open. Anyone wish to speak on this item? No one wishes to speak. I'm closing the public hearing. Motion is in order.
Make a
Move it.
motion.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, George.
I move approval of resolution R190080. Is that correct?
18.
Yeah, 0080.
No, it's up at the top. You got it?
Pardon?
A second.
We got it.
Okay. Got a motion to approve by Director Dodson, a second by Director Nakamura. Would you open the vote, please, ma'am? And the motion is approved, therefore the resolution is approved. We'll move to agenda item 3A. This is reading and public hearing of Resolution R-19-0081, approval of the fiscal year 2020 budget. A resolution adopting an annual budget for fiscal year 2020 for the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District, whereas the laws of the state of Texas require an annual budget be adopted by the Board of Directors, and whereas the laws require the budget include projected revenues and proposed expenditures, cash on hand at the start of the year, and the amount of money received during the prior year, the tax rate, and the projected ending fund balance. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District, Section 1, that the fiscal year 2020 budget amounts for the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District with a sales and use tax rate of 0.5% are as follows. Projected revenue received in fiscal year 2019, $2,190,676. Projected cash on hand as of October 1, 2019, $1,198,706. Revenues, $2,141,183. Expenditures, $2,135,394. Projected ending fund balance at September 30, 2019 is $834,495, and it is so resolved. Chief Miller, do you want to speak to this?
Get the presentation up, please. All right, good afternoon, Mayor and CCCPD board members. Chief Miller, Michael Miller, Chief of Police here in Colleyville. I'll walk you through these slides where we're going to talk through the details. I know you've been given the spreadsheet that's got all the numbers in it. We're going to talk about the content today. As you're well aware, the crime district was established in '99 for an initial 5-year period of time. It was renewed for a 20-year period of time in 2003, and it will be eligible for renewal again in 2023. And the district is authorized and governed by Section 363 of the Local Government Code and the Local Board of Directors. For fiscal year 2020, I wanted to talk about what our new initiatives that we are proposing in this year's budget request. Specifically, I'll just go on and talk about the individual ones to save time since we started a little bit late. We are asking for a new sergeant position. In 2017, a sergeant position was added to the existing CCCPD budget and projected out for FY20. That this position actually addresses the span of control issues that currently are experienced by the lieutenant assigned to the Criminal Investigative Division. There's only one supervisor that's currently in the Criminal Investigative Division aside from the lieutenant. But the span of control for that lieutenant happens to, is listed here, and I wanted to call those out. These are all direct reports to the lieutenant. So all of our school resource officers, there are 3 of them report to the lieutenant. Code enforcement reports to the lieutenant. Our CID sergeant reports to that lieutenant. Crossing guards, there are 12 part-times. Court bailiff and warrant officer, our property room tech, and also our training and personnel sergeant. So ideally, we would like to keep that span of control to around 1 to 5, maybe 1 to 7. That's consistent with our other divisions, including patrol, and we feel like this additional supervisor will help in that area, and we will do a little reorganization if you approve this position to ensure that we've got adequate and robust supervision within the Criminal Investigative Division. We are budgeting for that sergeant FTE $100,000 even, plus an additional vehicle is in the budget as well for this position. Any questions on that? Additionally, we are looking at and requesting a part-time accreditation coordinator. This employee will manage our Texas Best Practices accreditation process. Our person who was doing this left our organization earlier this year. Last year we talked about it, but we signed an intent to achieve national accreditation through an organization called Colleyville. That's a multi-year process. And so this position would actually coordinate both of those accreditation processes. And we're hoping to hire a part-time employee who has experience with both of these, and we hope that they would be able to hit the ground running as we're already midway through that CALIA accreditation cycle. As we were looking at this, we looked at all possibilities. We looked at filling this role with a sworn officer versus a civilian. We surveyed 13 departments and found the majority of those fill the position with a full-time civilian employee dedicated to accreditation. Some of the larger departments actually have dedicated sworn employees, and a couple had options in between. We think it's not the best use of sworn resources, and we think, based on my experience as a CALIA accredited agency in Coral Gables, and also validated by a CALIA commissioner who came and looked at our operations, we think that we can make do with a one single part-time employee who's focused on accreditation solely, but it will likely take all 29 hours of that person's time, we think. We did work with HR to determine the appropriate pay level and budget for this position, and we came up with $27,000. But through the reclassification of an existing position within the police department and an internal promotion in our records department, we were able to save $10,000 towards that, and so this position would really only require an additional $17,000 to fully fund. So a few other requests that we have as part of this budget. As part of my initial 90-day review, when I came into the department, we identified some opportunities to enhance some training for our department. We are requesting additional funding for ongoing leadership development training for our senior staff. We are requesting $10,000 per year. I would like to send some of our senior staff to classes like the Police Executive Research Forum's Senior Management Institute for Police. It's a 3-week-long class, and just one class for one person costs $9,750, so we're looking at something similar to that each year. We're also requesting additional funding for ongoing training for de-escalation and crisis intervention training for our sworn personnel. This will focus on ensuring safe interactions with folks in crisis and ensure our personnel have all the tools necessary to deal with situations as safely as possible. That also, we're requesting $10,000 per year for that. We are also, the bottom there, we're asking for additional funding for access to an investigative platform that will make our detectives more, will allow them to be a little bit more targeted and provide just additional capabilities and tools for them as they do their investigations. That platform is a subscription service for $9,750 a year. And then finally, we're asking for additional funding for an early warning system, which is a system that allows us to identify officers before they get in trouble. It takes triggers and things, so an officer who may have received complaints, multiple complaints, or multiple uses of force within a given period of time, this has an algorithm, this software has an algorithm to allow us to look at these officers and provide an intervention before they actually become a problem to us. An early warning system is standard across this industry and is required for CALIA accreditation. This same package that we're looking at actually also allows us to do internal affairs investigations, which we currently do by paper right now. We are asking for funding for a new CAD and records management system, a computer-aided dispatch and records management system. We are part of a consortium of Southlake, Keller, and Grapevine. All of us are looking, we're on the current system called Crimes. We're all looking to move to a commercial off-the-shelf system as soon as possible. Our current system, as I said, was developed and is maintained and managed by Sam Houston State University, and all of us feel like we've outgrown it and need to look at other options. We've had this conversation before, but we wanted to present it here. The plans are to obtain a consultant this fiscal year that can facilitate the requirements gathering, RFP process, system selection. We estimate spending about $50,000 for this portion, for our portion of the consultant. All partner cities are budgeting for this system procurement through their crime districts, actually, for FY20. And our share is estimated to be at $375,000 next fiscal year. Ongoing initiatives, just wanted to cover some of these. The FY20 proposed funding includes $1,132,589 dollars for salary and benefits for 11 sworn employees. That includes the sergeant position that we discussed earlier. If approved, our total sworn headcount would increase to 44. In addition to the new part-time accreditation coordinator position mentioned earlier, it also includes $48,754 in existing funding for the 2 part-time public service officers that we have that are working. If you move on down the list there, the proposed budget allocates $49,500 for to continue our crimes maintenance, and that will be that line item will be for maintenance of the new CAD and RMS system going forward. We don't know what the cost of that is at this point in time. The funding request includes $5,492 for our crime reports analytical software, along with several other software maintenance agreements. And we continue to participate in the Metroport Teen Court program at 1/4 of the regional cost, so our share is $33,750. There are a number of initiatives that are ongoing with very minimal changes, if any at all, and I'm not going to cover all of the line items, but definitely welcome your questions. We will continue to execute the fleet management plan at a cost of $262,650 for the purchase of our marked vehicles. We do continue to swap out that equipment, as we talked before. We continue to budget $10,000 for our annual SWAT for our annual weapons replacement, and $6,150 for SWAT training and equipment. As you're aware, we're a member of the Joint SWAT Team, the Northeast Tarrant County SWAT Team. Several other ongoing initiatives include funding for safety equipment, to include combat gauze and collapsible rubber base cones and traffic cones for each patrol unit. Also, licensing for 2 radar signs. We also continue to designate $5,000 for any complex crime scenes that we may find that we may not have existing budget for. One of the things that you'll notice that is a change from last year is that we took out all the large facility-related capital projects. We took them out of the CCCPD budget. We worked with the city, and we placed them into the city's capital improvement plan, which we think is a better alignment for those, and better place for those to go. And one last thing that I wanted to update you on. During our budget meetings with the city manager's office this year, we laid out what our requests were and what our department needs were for the next year. While we were considering these, the manager's office urged us to find some funding for body cameras. And so we were able to find existing funding for body cameras. We've identified that funding. We expect that we would be implementing body cameras once the next fiscal year starts. We had already planned for body cameras, so all of the infrastructure and servers and storage was already purchased as part of our new camera system when we implemented in the in-car video. And essentially, we will be paying off the debt fund this fiscal year, and so we're glad about that. That frees up some of the, actually that happens this fiscal year, so that's where we're getting some of those extra funds for these additional items that we're asking for.
Great.
And with that, I'm done. I apologize it took so long. We still have a few minutes.
No problem.
I'll entertain any questions. George?
Yes, sir. You mentioned that our part of the planning for the CAD RMS system was $50,000. Where is that in the line here? Or does that come out of another
So
fund?
that's going to happen this fiscal, that's a great question. That happens this fiscal year, and so the manager's office has helped us find existing funding sources. So we're not budgeting for that, we're using.
Okay, I didn't realize it would happen that quickly. That's wonderful.
That's the plan, sir, and we have already, because it's professional services, we didn't have to go out to bid, and Keller's leading this.
Sure.
But we were able to identify, they have been able to identify a firm that's appropriate. They've checked references and are moving forward as of just a couple of weeks ago.
That's wonderful. I'm very happy to hear that.
Thank you.
I have one other question,
Yes, sir.
and this is this is probably, probably a nit, but off-duty website annual fees / maintenance.
Yes.
What is that?
So we have a website or a system that manages all of our off-duty employment, and so it's shared with South Lake and Keller. So when somebody wants to hire an officer off-duty, they contact us, we put that in the system, and it's automated. So we are able to notify our officers in an automated fashion that there's a job out there for them to sign up for. It tells about how many hours it is, where it is, who to contact, and so they can sign up for it online.
Okay.
We used to post those things back in the day on a bulletin board. This is an automated way of doing that now.
No, that's great. I'm glad to hear of it. I just, it struck me as kind of unusual, but it makes a lot of sense. So, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
And so just a quick recap of the high-level items here. You're paying off, all the debt's going to be paid off this year. That's a big deal.
It's
Yes, sir.
amazing.
Wasn't that about 500,000
Yeah.
It's-
total for the year? Wasn't that?
So it'll be debt-free in this fund. And basically, this kind of the policy strategy changes are you're moving capital out and you're moving personnel in to this fund.
Correct. The idea
Yeah.
is that we want to tie the services that
Yeah.
our citizens and visitors experience and can touch with this crime control district, and so with the half-cent sales tax, we think it makes sense. Instead of the half-cent sales tax going for something like a roof, now, it supports actual boots on the street and services that we provide to our citizens.
Okay, very good. One comment on the resolution that I read a little bit earlier, Resolution 0081, the last item, projected ending fund balance as at September 30th, 2019. It's one I read. That really should be 2020.
It should be 2020.
So let's correct that on your.
I caught that too.
Yeah. With that, I need to thank you, Chief. If no other question, I'm going to open the public hearing. Public hearing is open. I have no cards. There's no one sitting out here to speak at the public hearing, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed, and a motion is in order.
I'll move to approve Resolution R-19-0081.
I'll second.
You have a motion to approve by Director Kelly, a second by Director Wheat. Would you open the vote, please? You may show the vote when it's ready. Motion is approved, therefore the resolution is approved. You have a budget. We'll move to agenda item 3B. This is reading and public hearing of Resolution R-19-0082, a resolution of the Board of the Directors of the City of Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District authorizing the imposition of the local sales tax on telecommunication services, authorizing the city secretary to provide a copy of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District's minutes and resolution to the State Controller's Office, and providing for an effective date. Whereas the Texas Tax Code provides authority for the Board of Directors of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District, hereinafter referred to as the district, by a majority vote to repeal the application of the telecommunication services sales tax exemption or telecommunication services sold within the district. And whereas the Texas Tax Code requires a copy of this resolution be sent to the State Comptroller's Office by United States Certified or Registered Mail. Further, the repeal of the application of the exemption takes effect within the district on the first day of the first calendar quarter after the expiration of the first complete calendar quarter after the date on which the comptroller receives notification of the resolution. That's a mouthful. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District as follows. Section 1, that the following recitals are hereby found to be true and correct findings of the Board of Directors and are fully incorporated into the body of this resolution. Section 2, taxation of telecommunication services. A tax is hereby authorized and imposed on all receipt from the sale of telecommunication services within the district. For purposes of this section, the sale of telecommunication services is consummated at the location of the telephone or other telecommunications device from which the call or other communication originates. If the point of origin cannot be determined, the sale is consummated at the address to which the call or other communication is billed. B, The rate of the tax imposed by this section shall be the same as the rate imposed by the district for all other local sales and use taxes as authorized by the legislature of the state of Texas. C, the city secretary shall forward to the controller of the state of Texas by certified mail return receipt requested a copy of this resolution along with a copy of the minutes of the Board of Directors vote and discussion regarding this order. Section 3. It is hereby declared to be the intention of the Board of Directors that the phrases, clauses, sentences, paragraphs, and sections of this resolution are severable, and if any phrase, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section of this order shall be declared unconstitutional by the valid judgment or decree of any court of competent jurisdiction, such unconstitutionality shall not affect any of the remaining phrases, clauses, sentences, paragraphs, and sections of this order, since the same would have been enacted by the Board of Directors without the incorporation of this order of any such unconstitutional phrase, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section. Section 4, this resolution shall become effective from and after its passage as provided by law, and it is so resolved. That's a long resolution.
I'm sorry, I didn't write that one. You played wood on that one. Good evening, Mayor, CCCPD Board. Adrienne Lothry, Assistant City Manager. I'm going to speak to you about this item and the next item concurrently because they're almost parallel issues. We spoke about this briefly at our work session, and you're familiar about our half-cent crime district sales tax, its history. And so a little bit of the history that we don't talk about so regularly is that the half-cent sales tax, there's currently some exemptions in place. The gas and electricity sales, our half-cent sales tax is not currently charged to those gas and electricity services. It was previously prohibited by state law, so at the time and when our crime district was originally created, that was not something that's allowed. But in the 81st legislative session, state law changed. It now allows for the city's dedicated sales tax to be applied to those services and kind of close that exemption loophole, if you will. But it does require a resolution from the CCCPD board in order to make that consistent and effective. On the telecommunication services side, again, the half-cent sales tax is not charged on telecommunication services, and it does require a separate resolution to make that effective. So those are the two resolutions before you this evening. You know, some cities, most, I would say, of our surrounding cities have chosen to make that effective. Different cities have different perspectives on that and what's the right way forward. You know, in many cases, it's kind of closing that exemption, if you will, and making that half-cent sales tax applied consistently to all of those different services as it relates to utilities. When we've done some initial analysis, we don't have an exact way of knowing because of the detail in the way we get that data from the comptroller. But should we make our half-cent sales tax applicable to these different services, we're anticipating an annual impact of $150 to $2,000. We wouldn't necessarily see that directly in the next fiscal year because, as Mayor read in the resolution, it does take some time before this actually becomes effective. Then we've got to take some effort to make all of the utility companies aware that our half-cent sales tax is applicable to them. Sometimes it takes a little time for them to adjust their systems and for us to start seeing those revenues. So we have not adjusted our FY20 sales tax revenue for that purpose, but we'll see how things go once we start to see that additional revenue trickle in if the board chooses to approve these resolutions. And then make some educated analysis and projections for FY21 going forward. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Adrienne, so basically they're taxing now the gas and water, is that,
So the two resolutions, one is for gas and electricity services.
electricity?
The other is for telecommunications.
So they're
Right
going to
now,
be taxed now.
correct, the half-cent sales tax would be applied. The
Sales, correct me if I'm wrong, they are currently being charged sales tax, just not this extra half cent.
Yes, they're paying the city's 1 penny general fund sales tax, and they are paying the city's half-cent CEDC sales tax. But because of these nuances in state law, these services have never had the half-cent crime district sales tax applied to them.
Right.
Just a little bit of a nuance there. So if you've ever noticed on our monthly reports where we send out sales tax, you'll always see that the half-cent
Less.
CEDC sales tax brings in more than our half-cent crime district sales
Yes.
tax.
Any other questions?
Yep.
I got an unrelated question
Okay.
that I think you can answer. I'm going back to the budget resolution. I forgot to ask this. In the budget resolution, we had a projected revenue for 2019 of $2,190,000 for a 2020 revenue projection of $2,141,000, which is less. Why is that?
Because in that total revenues, we are including use of available cash. If you'll remember, in previous years, we had that debt coverage ratio because of our
Yeah.
debt, and we had to have a certain revenue over expenditure amount, and then we were able to use some of that available cash. We're not going to have that situation going forward because in FY19, we've paid off the debt, but you can see our fund balance has built up quite a bit in our CCCPD fund.
Yeah, but I
over
don't
time.
think that's my question. It's on the revenues.
No, I understand. And so that pulled drawdown of fund balance is shown on the revenue side. That's why the revenue amount. So in, for example, FY19,
Yeah.
we were drawing down 436,000 of available cash, whereas in FY 2020, it's only 370, which is why your total revenue number has decreased from 19 to 20.
You shouldn't show a draw on cash as a revenue, I agree.
And we've
Okay.
changed that on the general fund side. This is
Yeah.
simply the last year, and it will no longer be an issue in the crime
Okay.
district.
All right, thank you. Okay, no more questions. I'm going to open the public hearing. Public hearing is open. Have no cards, have no one out here to speak on this in the public hearing, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Now, you're welcome to speak. In fact, Chief, did you want to introduce your new officer to everybody? When did you do that? I should have said that earlier.
So, board
You
members.
gotta walk up front, too.
All right.
In
Get on
fact, he
camera.
has to speak too.
Yes. So I wanted to introduce everyone to our newest police officer that started yesterday. Her name is Brittany Wood. And she,
Hi, Brittany.
we are looking for, she's going to be starting the police academy in August. And so we brought her on board as soon as we could, and we're going to be using her in different ways wherever we can find whatever additional help we need around the office. But we're also trying to expose her to different things, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to introduce her to each of you and to kind of see this process.
That's
Good.
great.
Glad you're here. Thank you for being here. Thank you. This is actually a fun group. Did I close the public hearing?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Public hearing is closed. All right, a motion is in order.
I move to approve Resolution R-19-0082.
I second the motion.
We have a motion to approve by Director Rigney, second by Director Dodson. Would you open the vote, please? You may show it when it's ready. Okay, and so that motion is approved, and therefore the resolution is approved. Okay, we're moving to item 3C. 3C is the, as Adrian said, kind of the same resolution, but now applied to the gas and electric services. This is Resolution R-19-0083, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the City of Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District authorizing the imposition of the local sales tax on residential use of gas and electricity, authorizing the City Secretary to provide a copy of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District's minutes and resolution to the State Controller's Office, and providing for an effective date. Whereas the Texas Tax Code provides authority for the Board of Directors of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District, herein referred to as the district, by majority vote to impose on receipt from the sale, production, distribution, lease, or rental of, and the use of, storage, or other consumption within the district of gas and electricity for residential use. And whereas the Texas Tax Code requires a copy of this resolution be sent to the State Controller's Office by the United States Certified or Registered Mail. Further, the repeal of the application of the exemption takes effect within the district on the first day of the first calendar quarter after the expiration of the first complete calendar quarter after the date on which the controller receives notification of the resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District as follows. Section 1, that the foregoing recitals are hereby found to be true and correct findings of the Board of Directors and are fully incorporated into the body of this resolution. Section 2, taxation on residential use of gas and electricity. A tax is hereby authorized and imposed on all receipts from the sale, production, distribution, lease, or rental of, and the use of, storage, or other consumption within the district of gas and electric for residential use. The rate of the tax imposed by this section shall be the same as the rate imposed by the district for all other local sales and use taxes as authorized by the legislature of the state of Texas. C, the city secretary shall forward to the controller of the state of Texas by certified mail return receipt requested a copy of this resolution along with a copy of the minutes of the Board of Directors vote and discussion regarding this order. Section 3, it is hereby declared to be the intention of the Board of Directors that the phrases, clauses, sentences, paragraphs, and sections of this resolution are severable, and if any phrase, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section of this order shall be declared unconstitutional by the valid judgment or decree of any court of competent jurisdiction, such unconstitutionality shall not affect any of the remaining phrases, clauses, sentences, paragraphs, and sections of this order, since the same would have been enacted by the Board of Directors without the incorporation of this order of any such unconstitutional phrase, clause, sentence, paragraph, or section. Section 4, this resolution shall become effective from and after its passage as provided by law. And it is so resolved. So you've already given us a presentation on this, basically, so I don't think we need a staff briefing. Any comments or questions before open a public hearing? So I'm opening public hearing. Public hearing is open. Have no cards, still have no one in the audience that wishing to speak, unless you two do, and they do not. Therefore, I'm going to close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. I just noticed, and interesting, in section 2A, it says, this is only for residential use, not commercial. That's interesting.
I don't believe that part was originally included in the exception.
Pardon?
I don't believe the state law nuance that they changed in the 81st legislative session did not include that. It was
Go for
specifically
commercial.
for.
Okay, just,
That's interesting.
that's interesting. I didn't realize that.
So commercial properties currently do not pay that half-cent tax, and they will not.
Well, none of
I know
us.
nobody does,
yeah.
but I just want
Right,
to make sure I
right,
understand commercial
correct.
properties are not in any way being impacted.
That's very interesting.
Correct.
Yeah.
It may be that they were never exempted in the first place.
I guess that's
I
my
can seek
question.
Oh, that's true,
clarification.
too.
Yeah,
I would
Yeah.
argue that they are paying. They
yeah,
just-
that would be,
Yeah,
that would be my read.
probably-
More likely.
That makes more
Okay.
sense.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
hopeful that that's the situation, so it's even
Yeah.
across the board,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
if we pass
Yeah.
this. but-
Okay. Very good. Then we have had the public hearing. A motion is in order.
Well, I would just say one thing. I think what we're saying here is that I think it's important that we collect the same tax for, every kind of tax that's accepted for sales tax across the board. So that's why I'm voting
Yeah,
for it.
okay.
Yeah.
Say that again, George?
If we are not collecting sales tax on gas and electric or on what we approved before, the
Telecommunications.
communications and telephone, if we were not collecting that half-cent tax for the CCPD, triple CPD, we're not getting the funds that I think people voted for when they voted for the half-cent tax. So it gets the half-cent tax across the board. So that's my view. So you have a
Do you
question?
think they really knew what they were, that, what all it was going to entail?
Well, yeah,
When they voted for it?
they probably didn't,
Correct.
but they also probably don't realize they're not paying that right now. They're not paying that
No, I
half-cent
know.
tax. I understand. Okay, we're clear. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
No,
Not a motion's in order.
yeah.
I'll move to approve resolution R-19-0083.
All second.
Have a motion to approve by Director Wheat, a second by Director Kelly. Would you open the vote, please? And show it whenever it's ready. That motion is approved by a vote of 6-1, and therefore the resolution is approved. Moving to agenda item 3D.
5-1,
Pardon?
5-1. I think you
Yes,
said.
that's right, 5-1. Bobby's not here, I'm sorry. You're correct. Thank you.
It's okay.
Okay, item 3D is reading in public hearing of Resolution R-18-0079. Nope, Resolution R-190084. Resolution appointing a president and vice president to the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District Board of Directors, whereas the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District Board of Directors shall elect from among its members a president and vice president in accordance with the local government code. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the Colleyville Crime Control and Prevention District, Section 1, that Director Blank is elected president and Director Blank is elected vice president for a one-year term, and it is so resolved. So we can do this one of two ways. In the motion, we can just include names that you prefer in the motion and vote on it, or we can go to the complex way and bring each one of these up individually and nominate people, vote individually. Your choice.
I make a motion to, oh, are you asking us, or
No, that was just the options.
I make a motion to approve Resolution R-19-0084 with President Bobby Lindamood and Vice President Richard Newton.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the resolution, including Bobby Lindamood as president and Richard Newton as vice president by Councilman Nakamura, second by Director Nakamura, and second by Director Wheat. Okay, any discussion on the motion?
No.
Nope.
Okay,
Public?
I need to have a public hearing.
All right.
Hold that thought. Public hearing is open. I have no cards. Still nobody wants to speak. Okay.
Still nobody here.
Well, there's two people here.
Well, but no, nobody
Yeah.
that's not a city employee.
No. I know, I'm kidding. Okay, so the public hearing is closed.
General.
Now, do you still hold that motion in second? You
I-
still hold?
I do.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
very good. So we got a motion in second. You're ready to vote? You may open the vote.
Nobody from the general public.
That's true.
Better phrasing.
That's true. I'm giving you a hard time.
I know.
And show it when it's ready. That motion is approved, therefore the resolution is approved. Thank you. We have covered all the agenda items, so if there's no objection, I'm going to adjourn. Any objection on adjournment? There is none, so we're adjourned. Thank you. Now we got to quickly move into our work session.